Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Geek Tavern. And we are here for Subplot, number I don't ever remember.
Now in video form.
Now in video form.
And in color.
Oh.
WandaVision. If we had done this from the start, we could have done the first episode in black and white and then done it in color afterward.
Would we have had that that thought without WandaVision?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
No. Yeah, you're right. We wouldn't have had that.
We're not here for that, though.
No, we are not. We're here for something better.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
So yeah, we are here to talk about, specifically, Godzilla 1985 and Godzilla versus Biollante.
That's right. Oh, we're just skipping Return altogether.
I mean, I don't have to break the fourth wall, but, well, that's not breaking the fourth wall.
No.
Shut up. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, we're
I didn't get very far in it.
We're going to talk about the better version.
Yeah. So, if you haven't already, check out our...
yes, if you're just clicking this episode, why? You haven't even followed us through the rest of the journey.
Yeah. We did a reaction to Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes,
he's not king yet.
To the trailer,
as we talked about.
Yeah.
So
that was our first video.
Yes.
Our first video of the new era of the podcast.
Yeah.
Which I mean, if this works, you guys tell us. We'll just continue to do it.
And we'll try to figure out a way to do the other podcast in this form as well. If it's well received. So, I guess let's just get into it since, we covered pretty much the Godzilla news outside of this episode now.
Yeah, we covered everything that needed to be covered. So we're just diving right into the plots of these two movies.
Yeah.
Let me just say that these two movies are two of my absolute favorites in the entire franchise. These are probably the ones that I remember the most, remember watching the most when I was younger. Since we're right on Godzilla 1985, I just want to start by saying I watched this a couple months back before we were going to do this, before we were even doing Subplot, I believe.
I remember, yeah.
And I had mentioned to you that I thought that it was a movie that I just had the nostalgia glasses on for.
Yeah.
And then upon rewatching it, I was like, nah, this movie still kicks ass. And I have a VHS, rip copy. We watched the DVD that I have of the VHS of Godzilla 1985 from, I want to say it was... Oh, of course it doesn't have it on the back here. Well, no, shit, it doesn't have it on the back here.
Yeah, because that's not official.
Because that's not official. I forget what the company was that released it on the VHS, but they were in a box set. But yeah, so we watched that one. You said you didn't make it through Return of Godzilla, which is fine.
Yeah.
I can tell a little bit about the plot points when we start delving into the plot.
Right.
Some of the differences, but overall, I like Godzilla 1985 a lot more than The Return of Godzilla.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's a better movie. I just think it's good all around. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. I could definitely be biased in saying that it's good just in the fact that I love it so much. But I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Godzilla's design in it, the way he acts. All of the shots look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive right into the plot here. I'll let you take over for the plot.
Okay. There's a lot to read here. I'm not very good at remembering stuff. So, the Japanese fishing vessel Yahata Maru is trying to find its way to the shore in a horrible storm when a giant monster emerges from an eruption on a nearby uninhabited island and attacks the boat. A day later, reporter Goro Maki finds the vessel intact, along with its sole survivor,
We'll just call him Kenny.
Kenny.
Kenny Okamura.
Oh yeah, because I thought they said Nakamura.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a wrestler.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's really how it opens, and we just go from there.
Prime Minister gets word that it's Godzilla, but they're keeping it a secret.
They keep it a secret.
Maki, who knows that it's Godzilla, is not allowed to report on it because it's a national security matter. And he goes to talk to a professor who's studied Godzilla, and he knows that the brother's still alive. Or yeah, that the brother. We don't even know about the sister yet. So the sister of Kenny works for the professor, and he recognizes her and tells the professor, you know, is her brother the man who was on the boat, the survivor? And he says, yeah. He says, how do you know? And he said, I rescued him and all this. And then he says, yes. He said, we're not allowed to tell her. So he, of course, tells her, and she has to go. She goes into the hospital to see him, and we then see a Russian nuclear sub is attacked by something, blows up. The Americans and the Soviets start mobilizing their forces for an all-out confrontation because the Russians think the Americans did it. The Americans think that the Russians are full of shit, and they start mobilizing. And then the Japanese government has to come clean and say, listen, it's Godzilla. Like, we didn't want to tell you guys, but it's Godzilla. So they start trying to look for Godzilla, and he comes ashore one night, attacks a nuclear power plant, and then he's led back to the sea by a flock of birds. And they start realizing, based on that attack, that Godzilla can be lured with a frequency. There's some high frequency that birds use that he would be able to actually understand and be lured away from a populated area. So while they're trying to get this all situated, Godzilla is sighted, and they have to make they come up with two plans. Number one is to use a weapon, a weapon called the Super X, which has cadmium-based missiles that they can shoot into the mouth to try to subdue him. And cadmium reacts with radioactive isotopes by nullifying them. So they're like, well, Godzilla feeds off radiation. We could probably kill him using cadmium. So they have that plan in place, and then they have another plan in place, and that's to lure him into the mouth of Mount Mihara and cause a controlled eruption to encase him in the volcano, sealing him away for the rest of eternity, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So they decide to press ahead with both plans, have one ready in case the other doesn't work. So Godzilla shows up in Tokyo, breaks through all their defensive lines, and in Godzilla 1985, the Russians have a ship in the harbor that they are trying to keep the nuclear, as it's quoted, keep the nuclear option open so that they can attack Godzilla if needed. So, because the Russians and the Americans meet with the Prime Minister and they say, hey, we need to use nuclear weapons, and he's like, no. The Prime Minister's like, we're not using nuclear weapons on Godzilla. So they keep that option open, and while Godzilla attacks the harbor, the colonel goes in to launch the missile to attack Godzilla. So in the meantime, while all this is happening, the Super X is able to subdue Godzilla because it fires cadmium missiles down his throat. It starts to attack the radioactive isotopes in him, and he collapses into a building, and they think that he's dead. So the Japanese get word of the missile launch, and they call the Americans to shoot the missile down from another base. And they're successful in their launch, and they're waiting for confirmation that it's going to hit. Both of them collide. The hit causes a radioactive airburst, and the lightning created by the storm, or the airburst storm, shocks Godzilla back to life. So Godzilla gets up, destroys the Super X. So the professor has to be evacuated. Well, Godzilla's still passed out at this point, but the professor has to go to Mount Mihara in case he wakes back up. So he gets there with the data needed to put into the dish that it could draw Godzilla to the island. So he goes to the island. Godzilla wakes up, and Godzilla starts destroying more stuff, and then they turn on the frequency dish, and it lures Godzilla to the island, up to the mouth of the volcano, and then they detonate, causing the controlled eruption, and that gets Godzilla to fall into the crater, and then they seal it. So, meanwhile, in this cut, all the stuff that's added in is anything with Raymond Burr, because he plays the same character that he played in Godzilla King of the Monsters. In my opinion, it's better than Return of Godzilla. A lot of people really like Return of Godzilla. I like Return of Godzilla. I just think Godzilla 1985 is better. I think it has... And it borrows score from the movie DEFCON 4 for a couple of scenes. In my opinion, I think the music's better. I like the main theme, but I think the music's better. I think that everything sort of meshes a lot better for the story. The Russians launching the missile are it's a sign of the times of the Cold War.
Right.
The director of this movie was definitely like, yeah, fuck the Russians. So he was like, yeah, we're gonna do that. But in actuality, the missile accidentally gets launched in the Return of Godzilla, and the Soviet colonel is trying to stop the missile launch, and he gets electrocuted by a wire that falls down, and he's unable to stop the launch from happening, and then the missile gets launched towards Tokyo, and then the Americans have to shoot it down. But yeah, I love this movie. I love everything about it.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, I love it. And I don't know what it is, but I absolutely love the way Godzilla looks, acts. I love the way the whole movie feels. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, give me your thoughts on it.
Yeah, one major thing that stuck out to me was, because this is when we made the jump, right? They took, what, a 9-year...
Yeah, 9-year jump.
9-year hiatus. So, just everything looks better.
Oh, yeah.
When you go back through the series. The suit is much more advanced.
Looks bulkier, looks heavier.
Yeah, there's weight to it. It's not like just a flimsy little, suit. I can't remember if it was more specifically in Biollante or this one, but we get a lot of close-ups of him roaring and stuff.
I think we had close-ups in both movies of him roaring.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of close-ups in Biollante. I can't remember if there was in 1985.
There was a lot of ones in 1985, but they used the robot. The big robot head. Okay. Where the lips snarled and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Aside from the robotic version of Godzilla, the suit, it looks mean. It looks evil. It just looks like a malevolent presence that wants to destroy.
I like that more because, he's an animal. He's not a humanoid.
No, he's a force of nature.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that I really like about this movie is he feels more monstrous.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like... I know people talk about the Showa movies and they're like, oh, they're like little kids movies because Godzilla's the hero and all that. And it's like, yeah, like, and I enjoy those.
Yeah.
But
for what they are.
This being, and this is supposed to be a direct sequel to the 1954 Godzilla or the 1956 Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Right.
But I mean, Godzilla just feels evil again. Like this feels like the next logical step is for him to become the bad guy once again.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it worked. It worked because through the whole movie, it doesn't matter what Godzilla does. At the end of the movie, you're still emotional about Godzilla being lured into this volcano.
Yeah.
Because you realize, like, he's just an animal. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. This is just him.
That's his instincts.
Yeah, yeah. And then that's like one thing that I said, the speech at the end that Raymond Burr gives about Godzilla and nature reminding man of just how small he is. Like, it's just great.
Yeah.
Like, and that's another reason why I hold this in higher regard than the Return of Godzilla.
Yeah.
I just wish that they would release it on a legitimate DVD and give me the 1985 cut. I know it exists. I know they have the film somewhere.
Yeah.
Just get it and make the cut. Because both of these movies were in copyright hell.
Yeah, you had mentioned that.
For, like, I don't know, since the VHS releases. So this one, the 1984 / Return of Godzilla, that is not the... that is not this dub. The 1985 dub.
Yeah.
It's a different dub, a little bit different dialogue.
I didn't mind the dub from what I watched.
No. It's good. Like, and it's a higher quality than this.
Yeah.
But this, which is the Miramax Echo Bridge release of Godzilla vs. Biollante, this is the original because I had the Miramax HBO release on VHS. And it's the same exact dub. So I was happy about that when I watched it. Because when I bought this, I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch this movie because I love it. And then when I clicked play and I went back and switched it to English, I was like, oh, I hope this is the same dub because I'm going to be really upset if it's not the same dub. And then when I watched it, I was like, no, it's the exact same dub. Sweet. So they must have just ripped it direct from, like, whatever cut they used the VHS for.
Yeah.
And just made it. Because there's nothing changed in this. In Biollante, like Godzilla 1985, it's all the same exact movie. It's just different dubs. But I was glad that they had the original dub that was used for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Godzilla 1985. How would you rate it?
Well, one thing I was gonna talk about that I also liked was the debut of the Super X.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
because we never really got like any iconic ships.
Yeah, like,
especially not recurring ships.
Yeah. I thought it was a very interesting, futuristic, but you know,
it was like a flying tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it was cool.
Oh yeah.
I would like them to, since they have flying ships in the newer ones, I think it could be a thing that they maybe... Well, I don't know if they have the rights. There probably rights to those too, wouldn't there be?
Oh, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that won't happen. But it'd be a cool thing to see in modern times.
You know what? They kind of did it. Like, they're like in the Monsterverse, they're making iconic ships.
Right.
Like the Argo. You know, they're trying to make things like that where they're like, hey, people love the Super X. Let's make our own. Let's make it look like this. It'll be cool, you know. Which, you know, I commend them for doing that.
Right.
And now they're making like the other ships in Godzilla vs. Kong, like the Heaves, which is what they're called, like HEAV. They're like an anti-gravity vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Hollow Earth anti-gravity vehicle is what it's called.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, they've got some neat things. I think the Super X is, well, I should say the Super X2 is probably my favorite incarnation of that ship.
Yeah,
because there's three. There's three versions of the Super X, which we'll get to at the end of the Heisei era.
All right.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
I mean, that's about it for the. I mean, other than the fact I did enjoy this movie.
Is this one you'd find yourself wanting to watch?
Yeah, I'd watch these back to back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's one thing that I love about is anytime I watch them, I have to watch one and then the other.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just watch one and be done with it, because it feels like such a linear story that it has a beginning and an end.
Yeah. That
you're just like, no, I got to watch them both together.
Right.
Even though there's a time jump in between, but you know.
So rating, I'd give it. I mean, it wasn't per se one of my favorites, but then again, with things I need to. That's the only bad thing about giving ratings for these movies is like, I honestly need to watch movies a couple times and shows.
Oh yeah.
As I'll talk about in the episode later this week, with. Well, I don't know if we're going to talk WandaVision. Anyway. But, yeah, I just got to watch things several times. But as of right now, I would say probably a 6.5. Like, it sounds low, but, like, I would say 7's it was really good.
Yeah.
So, my 6.5, in my eyes, isn't bad.
Yeah. 9 out of 10. Just gonna say
Okay.
9 out of 10. I still absolutely love that movie. and I'll just say it now. Biollante's gonna be a 9 out of 10 too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say it again when we get to it to rate it, but
Right.
I'm just gonna flat out say, like, this whole storyline 9 out of 10 for me.
All right.
I just love the way that it was made. I love the way it was made. I love the way it looks. I love the way Godzilla is. The characters are even memorable to me. Like, I remember their names, and I hardly remember any characters' names in these movies. Especially, like, in the Showa era. Like, I don't remember anybody's name in the Showa era.
Typically we just have them in front of us.
Yeah. But, like, I remember the characters from these two movies.
All
so, to me, they stand out, and I'm just like, okay, this is it, you know? So, yeah, 9 out of 10. Hands down. Love that one. So we're gonna jump to Godzilla versus Biollante. So this one for me, I don't know what it was. I think it was when you initially, because before we did this, you brought me like a stack of like must watches. Oh yeah.
And obviously this one was in there as well. Well, both of these were, but just I guess this cover is different than the one that I'm looking at here on screen. But anyway, it still intrigued me. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time.
I love this.
But once I bought the figure that has this picture, it's too much work to bring it up on screen. But it's the Godzilla versus Biollante.
Oh yeah. It's a very famous. Well, it's a poster that was done by Noriyoshi Orai, and he designed a lot of the '90s posters all through the '90s. I believe he did one for every Heisei era poster.
Yeah.
No, he did. He did do one for every single Heisei movie. So look up Godzilla. Type in his last name, or like see that one right in there.
What?
Right next to it.
That's
that one. That's the VHS cover.
Oh,
that's the VHS that I have.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish clicking on it would bring it into bigger form, so people can see what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, this is the picture I was talking about.
Oh yeah, the Orai poster.
I don't know how well
he did a ton of them that I absolutely love. Oh, there's one. Go right down below it. That's John Bellotti Jr.'s artwork.
Yeah.
I met him at a con in Baltimore, and he had all these epic posters and I bought like one of each of every single one that he had.
Oh, that's how you
Oh
make
yeah,
it bigger.
yeah,
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to John. Follow him, Robo7 or Robo7.com.
Well, now that I know how to make it bigger,
No.
that one's just small in general.
But yeah. So,
but anyway, this is what I'm talking about. That's the artwork on the box of the figure. And what I was gonna say about that was, like, it's just awesome artwork. So I was always very excited to get to this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I was just ready when it was time.
So this
one came through HBO Video.
Yep. Yeah, that's where the VHS came from. So this movie follows Godzilla's attack. Well, it starts right after Godzilla's attack on Tokyo, and then it jumps ahead 5 years.
Okay.
So we have
Avengers
soldiers from. We don't know who they're from yet, who they're working for, but they are in the wreckage of the first Godzilla. Well, of this newest Godzilla attack, they get. They find skin samples.
Right.
And they put them in a sealed up like cooler or whatever that they're going to transport back, and the Japanese government finds them and tells them that they're not allowed in here. It's a closed area. So they start a gunfight with them, and they start running. They flee, and each one of them are killed by a Neo-looking dude, some assassin, and he takes
that guy
takes the cooler and leaves. And then we cut to 5 years later. Well, I guess it's still around the same time. Yeah, it's still in the same time, and we meet the character Dr. Shiragami, and he tells his daughter that he has to go to the lab because the Godzilla cells have arrived, which have been stolen from whoever the Americans, I guess they're Americans, who took the cells, and they were sold to his company. And then we cut ahead to 5 years later in the country of Saradia at their Institute of Science and Technology, and the doctor is experimenting with the Godzilla cells, and they're trying to develop. What they're trying to develop is anti-nuclear energy bacteria. So the way that like an oil spill happens, and the way that they describe it is they say in America they have a bacteria that eats crude oil to prevent oil spills, which I don't think that we actually have that. So they're trying to develop an anti-nuclear energy bacteria that could like essentially be used to nullify a nuclear weapon. So they're working on that, and their institute gets blown up. His daughter gets killed, and then we fast forward 5 years later after her death, and the doctor is doing these. Well, we don't know it yet, but in his grieving process, he has decided to become like Frankenstein, and he's experimenting with the Godzilla cells and roses, like different types of plants.
Right.
So he's trying to. Well, he calls in. What would you call Mickey? A medium. So, and he's trying to see like if his daughter's spirit is still like around.
Right.
But we're introduced to Miki Sagusa, who will be a recurring character from here on out through the rest of this series. And the experiments that he's doing, we find out that these Americans are working for a company called Biollante. They were the ones who were robbed the cells to begin with. So they break into Shiragami's lab to steal back the Godzilla cells and the anti-nuclear energy bacteria, and they are attacked by some type of creature with plant-like vine tentacle-like appendages. They're both killed, and then we find out in the morning after, when they find out what they were after and everything, that the creature has busted through the wall of the lab out into the lake. So we don't hear about it for a while. And then while all this is going on, Biomajor plants explosives around Mount Mihara, and then they are blackmailing the government into turning over the anti-nuclear energy bacteria to them, or they will blow up Mount Mihara, releasing Godzilla. Because they find out that Godzilla is still alive.
Yeah.
Because Mickey, being a medium, like, they're training these other kids with, like, ESP and all that. And they have an exercise where they, like, draw what they dreamt about, and they're supposed to be, like, premonitions and stuff. And they come in, and they ask the kids what they dreamed about. And every single one of them had the same dream, and they all hold up their pictures, and each one of them drew Godzilla.
Yeah.
So her friend
might be the scariest shot in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's great, though. I love that. So her friend, Asuka, ends up telling her brother, I believe it's her brother in this movie. Yeah, I think it's her brother. She tells her brother about the fact that this is, or no, I'm sorry, it's not her brother. His sister shows up later on in the series. Goro Gondo. His sister shows up in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. So anyway, Asuka tells Gondo that she thinks that there's a good chance Godzilla's alive. Like, she believes Mickey that Godzilla is alive.
Yeah.
So they go up to the mountain, and she confirms that Godzilla is alive. So they are trying to figure out how they're going to, what their plans are going to be. Like, how are we going to give in to them? Because we really don't want Godzilla back in the picture.
Yeah.
So they decide that they are going to turn over the anti-nuclear energy bacteria to the terrorists in order to prevent them from unleashing Godzilla. So what happens is they are turning it over to the Americans, to Biomajor's agents, and they're attacked by the Seradian assassin and the two agents,
Japanese John Wick.
Yeah, the two agents that are the only ones who could shut down the detonation sequence of Mount Mihara are both killed by the assassin. So both Gondo and I can't remember his other name, Kurashima, I think that's his name. Gondo and Kurashima go into the truck to try to shut it off, and they don't know what happened. Like, all the systems are damaged because the truck rolled,
right?
So they can't stop it.
Yeah, they're just hitting like every button they can hit.
Yeah, and they're just looking at the timer, and it just goes down to 0. Mount Mihara explodes, releasing Godzilla in one of the coolest entrances ever. Yeah. And then the system alarms go off that Godzilla is now back in action, and he's at large, so everybody has to evacuate all the bays and harbors or whatever. So they send out the Japanese fleet to meet Godzilla. They have absolutely no effect on him, and then they reveal that they have a Super X2, which has what they call a fire mirror, which if Godzilla shoots his beam at it, or his radioactive ray, it reflects it back at him. So, but they find out pretty quickly that in combat it's not as effective because it starts to melt, because Godzilla can melt synthetic diamond and all that. So he does that, melts that. They bring Super X back. Godzilla makes landfall, and then they have to take Mickey out to divert him. And she is able to, using her ESP, divert Godzilla on to another course instead of coming on land. Mm-hmm. And then Godzilla has his first encounter with Biollante in the... Well, let's cut back. They... in the lake, and I forget where the lake... Is it Lake Ashi? Yeah, Lake Ashi. they find that a huge plant-like creature has grown up out of the lake, and Dr. Shiragami names it Biollante. And it has like the head, its head is more of like a rose, but it has all these like plant-like tentacles, but it's ever evolving. So like there's at one point the he believes that his daughter Erica is part of this creature,
right?
Because of his experiments and all that. So he believes that it's her. They won't, you know, he refuses to have them kill it or, you know, attack it because it's not really doing anything terrible or anything like that.
It's just kind of there.
And then while they're like looking at it, like one of the tentacles bursts through the docks and it has like a reptilian mouth to it. And then Mickey says that I don't believe that Erica's in, like, I don't think that she's part of Biollante anymore. It's become something worse. Which Biollante is a mixture of Godzilla and plant. So it's of course going to have a lot of that evil in it as being Godzilla. So,
and sharp teeth.
Yeah. So Godzilla goes and has his first encounter with Biollante, obliterating her using his heat ray, and she burns up, but not before revealing that there's a second form to Biollante. While the rose form's burning up, there's like a transition where you see the mouth of the much larger version of Biollante, and you hear the roar into the night sky, and then it disappears. So, yeah, that disappears, and then Godzilla proceeds to go to, I believe he destroys Osaka. Yeah. So he destroys Osaka. They send the Super X2 out. Godzilla destroys the Super X2. Their last possible ditch effort is Colonel Goro Gondo leads a Rocketeer group that goes up into the different buildings that are at height with Godzilla, that they can launch these RPGs that have, they're drilling RPGs that have anti-nuclear energy bacteria in them. So what they're trying to do is get a shot on Godzilla's mouth or an open wound of some kind to get that energy bacteria to get into his bloodstream and slowly start to kill him. So he lands one good shot in his mouth, turns around, starts to make his way out of the building, and Godzilla finds out which building he's in and destroys it. So
it's like one of my favorite shots.
Oh, that shot. And let's talk about the cinematography of this. Some of the composite shots are beautiful. Because especially that one, when he's loading the rocket and he sets it down to like reload or like detach something, Godzilla is like walking up behind towards the building, and it looks so real. Yeah. It just looks real. Like, it doesn't even look like it's a composite shot. You can't see any like the blurred edges of where it, like, it just looks like Godzilla was walking towards it and they're filming it. Yeah. Like, it looks so good.
It does look good.
This is one of the best looking Godzilla movies ever. So Gondo gets killed. So the anti-nuclear energy bacteria is not having an effect on Godzilla. So they figure out that they have to raise his body temperature because he's cold-blooded. So if they raise his body temperature, the bacteria will take effect easier. Yeah. So they set up, which is fucking cool, they set up this huge perimeter with all of these like these cathodes that will they're lightning rods essentially. So they create a synthetic storm of sorts, and anytime Godzilla steps on one of these like diodes, they hit a button and lightning strikes to raise Godzilla's body temperature. So
when they were setting up for that, it was ridiculous how many tanks there were.
Oh, I know.
There was like 150 of them.
So they're attacking Godzilla, luring him into this perimeter where they can do this, and they start, you know, shocking him and everything.
Sorry, some of the worst rain effects.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Like it's clearly just an overlay.
No, some of it was mist that they were like misting.
Well, some of it was, but and you could.
Some of the tanks or the shots with the tanks, just overlaid. That's all.
And you could tell which one was overlay because it was always going the same way.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So when they did, so they set up this perimeter, and Godzilla gets like shocked, and then they're using these like energy ray like tanks to like also elevate his body temperature. So
Which those were cool.
Oh yeah. So he's fighting all these. They're trying to raise his body temperature. It's still not having much of an effect. And then the second form of Biollante appears and fights Godzilla, and lands some pretty good hits on him. I mean, like half of these, like the tentacle things are like biting him. They're like cutting into him.
Well, there's a one shot where it straight up just goes through his hand.
Through his hand, yeah. And then Biollante shoots Godzilla with like an acid sap that starts like burning away his skin and everything. And Biollante has a shit ton of teeth. So Biollante looks like a crocodile with a lot of teeth. So fun fact, this movie was written by a dentist. Which just explains the teeth.
Oh my god.
But so he fights Biollante, and then I think it's right after the acid mist spray. I think that's what elevates his temperature enough, and Godzilla sort of stumbles over to the shoreline and just like falls into the water. So they're like, hey, the bacteria is taking effect. So Biollante, seeing that her job is done, starts to like materialize into the sky.
Yeah,
but not before revealing that the spirit was in fact Erica.
Okay, yeah.
The doctor's daughter. And then she floats off into the sky or whatever, and then Godzilla gets up. Well, not okay. So Shiragami gets killed by the assassin after seeing that it was Erica who her spirit was in Biollante. So the doctor gets killed, and Kurashima goes after the assassin. They have a car chase, roll the cars, get out, fight, fist fight each other. They're trying to go after the gun, and the assassin gets the gun and the upper hand on Kurashima, and then he just gets vaporized because Kuroki was watching the fight occur on the perimeter of the lightning field, and the assassin stepped onto one of the diodes, and he hit the button to where he was standing on. It was so cool. Like, I was like, damn, I was like, that was awesome. I was like, he just vaporized that guy. So, after that, Godzilla gets up and starts walking back off into the ocean. And then we get the pullback shot of the credits where there's the rose that Mickey was drawing on her, like, Wacom tablet earlier in the movie.
It's that thing was a blast from the past.
Oh yeah.
Like what is that technology?
I always thought it was like a light bright.
Yeah.
Like growing up, I was like, is that a light bright?
It looks like it.
But yeah. So that's the it's Godzilla versus Biollante.
Yeah. So I think I like this one a little bit more just for the fact that we get a very original, well, I guess, I don't know if it'd be the antagonist, but Biollante is very original.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know if it's that fact or what it is, but I enjoy this one more.
I think this is better looking than Godzilla 1985.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it might be the best looking Godzilla movie. Like
Godzilla himself.
Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, and that's the other thing, the composite shots I was talking about. When Mickey's on the helicopter landing pad trying to divert Godzilla, that composite shot looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks like whoever the cinematographer was, it just looks so freaking good because it's just there. Like, just looks like they were just like, hey, Godzilla's an actor. Get him in the shot. Like, have him just wade through the water and we're just going to film it.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, it's so good.
Yeah. Like I said,
every part of this movie just looks like it was filmed yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it would be maybe like a indie film, but still, like, it
still looks great.
Great.
The plot's really good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Everything keeps you engaged. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just...
Pretty much from when they get attacked in that little laboratory.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much from there, it's just...
That's the thing, too. You have so much off the get-go. You have the aftermath of the attack of Godzilla, and then you have all this stuff with secret agents and Biomajor, and you're like, yo, what's going on here? And then you have all these other stories going on with it, and then you get the ransom that Biomajor wants on the Japanese government, which is just like a huge, like, when I think about it, I'm like, that's genius, because you're like, well, we need to get Godzilla out of there somehow. Oh, we have the company plant explosives, and then they go, hey, we're holding your entire country for ransom. Give us what we want, or we're gonna release the thing that you fear the most. Like, it's genius.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everything just falls into place, and it keeps you so engaged with the characters, with the story, and I don't know. It's one of those great Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of battles either, like, between Godzilla and Biollante. Like, there's just enough to keep you satisfied, and everything else is just Godzilla being evil.
There's what, 2?
Yeah. Two fights between Godzilla and Biollante, and each one of them only lasts like 5 to 7 minutes each.
But it was just cool to see the different forms of Biollante, just that last form is so awesome looking.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying.
Like when it's rolling towards him. I say rolling.
Yeah. Like, and the roar too. The roar is just like it's blood curdling.
Yeah. Yeah, visually it's just one of those things. Again, I always, compare it to Power Rangers just because that's my reference point, because I grew up with that. I mean, I grew up with this, but more so that. I like Godzilla because it reminded me of that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And still to this day, that's what my brain goes to. But, like, that's what Biollante looked like when he, I guess she was coming into that shot. Was like, holy shit, there's... I forget the name of it, but it's like when all the Power Rangers bring their thing together with the White Ranger, it's like this big fucking, I don't whatever. But that's what it looked like to me.
So, fun fact about this, I had a booklet that came with a CD that I bought that had all these different scores from the Godzilla movies. Godzilla vs. Biollante's score was done by Koichi Sugiyama, and you're gonna recognize it when I say it, but most of the score was written based on like John Williams type music.
Okay, yeah.
The opening themes is like Jaws, because like if you listen to it, it does the dun 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 dun.
Oh.
Like there's that undertone there.
Yeah.
And then the Super X's theme is supposed to be like Superman's theme. But if you listen to the music, you're like, oh yeah, they were definitely trying to like invoke John Williams.
I think the Super X one, I think I did kind of recognize. I was like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. So like they were really trying to get like John Williams-esque themes in there.
Yeah.
And I really think it worked. Like when I listen to the music, I'm like, oh, I definitely can like hear those musical cues. Like,
right.
Like they were definitely trying to invoke that.
Huh.
Another reason why I like this movie, the score is so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Akira Ifukube, but I love when a composer adds something new to the Godzilla soundtrack collective.
I forget which one it was. I remember talking. It must have been 1985 because that's the one we watched together.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you had mentioned about the opening theme,
or maybe it was a battle theme. I can't remember which one it was.
I think it was the very opening because you asked me if that theme had been done before.
Yeah,
and I said no
because I remember it was like,
and it's one of my favorites. It's just
very catchy.
Yeah, and it's very just like menacing.
Yeah,
like it just feels dark.
Right.
It feels dark and hopeless. It feels like there's just nothing.
Yeah.
There's just doom on the horizon.
Yeah, I remember really liking that.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was the last one, but Yeah. I really like this one.
I do too.
So I'm gonna go ahead and give it. I think I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Just like I said, I love Biollante.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, what's not to love about Biollante?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said previously, these are 9 across the board for me. I love both of these movies. I think this one looks better from a visual standpoint. Some of the shots just look great, and like watching it, because I also had a VHS rip of this, and I was so happy when it came out, and I was like, oh, I don't have to watch the VHS anymore. I could actually watch the good cut of it.
Yeah.
And it's still, like I said, it's still one of those movies that these two are two that I was like, oh, is it rose-colored glasses that I'm watching this with, and then realizing it's not. Like,
yeah,
they're still really good. But yeah, that what an interesting start to a new era.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, like they just, I don't know.
Well, slow down there, because they don't get much better.
Oh, okay.
There's only like 1 or 2 that live up to this type of hype that we're digging.
It's been a while since we've had anything too bad.
This next one's not too bad, but it has its moments of being silly.
Yeah, I always look up the list.
Oh yeah, upcoming next we're gonna have Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and Godzilla vs. Mothra: The Battle for Earth.
Did I go too far? Where am I?
No, you're right there.
Oh, The Return. Okay.
Yeah. And we got 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and 1992's Godzilla vs. Mothra: The Battle for Earth. Or Battle of Earth? Is it? The Battle for Earth. Yep, okay. I had it right.
I mean, we go back to some old school monsters, but
oh yeah. Yeah, we go back to old school monsters.
I mean, these posters are great.
Oh yeah, this is all the same guy.
Yeah.
This is all
I'm a big fan of this guy already.
Noriyoshi. Yeah, he did one for every single Godzilla Heisei movie at least. Yeah, I mean, he just did amazing artwork. Recognize that one?
What?
That poster? My King of the Monsters one has Godzilla in the same fighting pose with Ghidorah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to like.
Why I didn't.
I was trying to like pay tribute, pay homage to that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, join us next time for the second installment of the Heisei movies, and then following that, we're going to talk about the death and rebirth. It's going to be quite interesting.
So we're doing a 3-parter on not the next one, but the.
No, we're just going to do a 2-parter because we're going to cover the death and rebirth of the franchise.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right. So yeah, thank you guys for enjoying another episode of Subplot.
And let us know if this format is more appealing to you guys.
Yeah,
let us know in comments or tweets.
We can
whatever.
probably figure out how to do more things on the screen. I don't know. Maybe some pictures. Have some pictures ready.
Yeah.
From each movie or something, or be a little more work on our end, but that's fine.
Yeah, we're happy to do it.
We will make any and all changes we need to, and yeah, just let us know in the comments down below if this is something you like and want more of. So, thank you again.
Catch you next time.
Yeah. Down the road.